So you had a little bit of questions are to identify all of these values given a parabola equation. So the first thing we have to figure out is what equation am I given? One that represents this type of parabola or this type of parabola, this one, this one or this one, right? In this case, we know that it's gonna be, since we have an x, we know that it's between these two. And now since we have a negative p, we know that it's a sad face, right? So it's this one. Okay, so now we have identified which parabola it is. We know that since it's this type of parabola, the axis of symmetry is gonna be somewhere along x equals to something, and the directrix is gonna be y equals to something. First notch, that's the first thing you could do. Okay, now the second thing you can do is, okay, since I've given the formula, the equation of this, I know that this is h and this is k, right? And since this is a positive, we know that the value is negative, right? So the vertex, we got it from these values. It's -2 and -1, right? If we were to have y minus 1, then we know that it's a positive one, okay? But in this case, both of the values are negative. Now, how can we get the focus? Okay, so we know there are two ways to get the focus. We know that if we visualize the parabola, and we know that the vertex is at -2, -2, -1. We know that the vertex is somewhere around here, and the parabola goes like this, right? So we know to get the focus, we have to go down. So we know technically to get the focus is gonna be somewhere around, so we won't move the x, because remember, we're only gonna be moving up and down in this type of parabola. There's two ways, so we can get it by just having -1 minus plus p, or we can just visualize it. So we know that the point is at -2, -1, and we want to go down. In this one, we want to go down a p value. So in both cases, we know that it's important to get the value of p, right? How can we do that? Well, from here. In here, I could have, in this one is a -1, so I go whatever I have there equals to 4p, and I solve for p. -1 divided by 4, it's 1 equals to p. So I know in the focus it's gonna be -1 plus p, which is negative, so it's technically gonna be -1 minus 1/4. Or you could see it this way: you have it in -1 and you want to go down 1/4 units. So yeah, both ways you get the answer. Okay, so in this one it's gonna be -2, remember -1 could be -4 divided by 4 minus, so this equals to -5, 4, right? That's a way you can add fractions. So the answer, it's gonna be -2, -5/4, right? And how can I get that directrix? Remember, now the directrix is up. So if we go 1/4 units up, we know that technically is -1 plus 1/4, which is -4, plus 1/4, which equals to -3/4. That could also be seen as, if you wanted to see it in a type of formula, it's gonna be k minus p, which equals to k is -1 minus p, which is minus 1/4. So this equals to -3/4. Okay, so if we do the, so now the answer is going to be y equals to -3/4. Remember that the directrix is just as the axis of symmetry is a line, no? Since it's a line, we just want y equals to something or x equals to something. Now the axis of symmetry is simple. Remember, is what cuts in half the parabola, which is where the vertex is the x of the vertex. So x equals to -2.